All right, good evening and welcome to the final of three community engagement events to hear from you on new proposals to broaden the tax base and adjust select fees. Looks like we have a pretty good number of folks joining us this evening. This engagement event is specific to a proposed revision to the stormwater utility rate, which we'll learn more about shortly. My name is Michael Spaeth, and I am a principal planner for the Town of Oro Valley and project manager for this outreach project and facilitator for tonight's meeting. My role as facilitator is to be neutral, fair, and efficient. My primary goal is to make sure your comments or concerns are registered and ensure your questions are answered. My aim is to ensure everyone leaves the meeting with an understanding of the rate proposal and that you had the opportunity to make your voice heard. I ask respectfully that all participants please do not engage in any inappropriate or disruptive actions and be respectful of all participants. Everyone's microphone will be muted until I open it up for questions and comments. I will provide a quick how-to on using Zoom before that part of the meeting. We are scheduled to go until 7:30 this evening. Tonight's agenda will have two staff presentations. The first will provide a brief overview of why revising the stormwater rate is necessary and important. And the second will be more specifics on why it is being changed and how it will impact you. After that, we'll be opening the meeting up for discussion where you'll be able to provide comments, concerns, or questions that you might have. Excuse me. I respectfully ask everyone to hold their questions until the presentations, as many of your questions will likely have been addressed. This meeting is part of a comprehensive effort to educate the community and garner feedback on three proposals aimed at expanding the tax base and revising some existing fees. Over the last couple of years, proposals from the Parks and Rec Department, Finance, as well as the Stormwater Utility Department have been developed to ensure the town can continue to provide the high-level amenities and services the community expects. In the last few months, staff have presented these proposals to each respective board or commission, as well as town council to gather their input. A community outreach plan was kicked off last month to get the word out about this project, and hopefully that is what prompted many of you here this evening. Now we are at the fun and most important part of the project, where we get to interact and engage with the community to get your input and feedback. Following tonight, staff will be going back to these respective boards and commissions with any revisions that are born out of our meetings and ultimately culminating with a town council decision later this fall. So with that, I'll turn it over to Mr. Dave Gephardt, the town's Chief Financial Officer, to briefly discuss why these fees are proposed to be changed. Mr. Gephardt?
Yeah, thank you for joining us this evening. Thank you, Mr. Spaeth. Tonight we're presenting a fee increase proposal to our stormwater utility. The utility is an enterprise fund, which essentially means that it is self-supporting. It does not rely on tax revenues to partially fund its operations. Similarly, the fees it charges and collects cannot be used for other town functions. What does our stormwater utility do? Essentially, it prevents flooding on town streets and other assets, channeling water into designated areas. We have been known to have some pretty good storms around here that dump a significant amount of water in a very compressed time frame. The stormwater utility ensures that our streets and other assets are safe and not flooded during these events. Regarding our fees, they have not been updated since 2016, or approximately 10 years ago. During that time, we have been heavily reliant upon grants to make significant improvement to our stormwater system. What we are proposing is to increase our monthly charge by essentially $2 a household. This will provide additional resources that will allow the town to be less reliant on these grants moving forward. Now I'm going to introduce Mr. Paul Kiesler, the town's Public Works Director and Town Engineer, to go into further detail on the stormwater fee proposal. Paul?
Mr. Gebhardt, thank you. Thank you. And thank you, Mr. Spaeth. And most importantly, thank you for those of you who took time out of your evening to go ahead and join us. This is an important subject. We'd like to walk you through the why and the how. and really get a firm basis of knowledge out there with respect to what are we doing and why is this important? So let's start off with first, what does the new rate, what's it going to provide? Well, through our calculations and through the database, because this is a flat rate, it will provide approximately $691,000 in additional revenue. And this is going to be specifically applied to infrastructure, maintenance, and construction to ultimately make Oro Valley much more storm resilient. And when you increase your resiliency, you increase your safety. That's really the bottom line. At the end of the day, we're making the town safer for each and every person, one project at a time. You know, those are our community expectations. You all pay this fee on your water bill. And today, as Mr. Gephardt has mentioned, the fee that you pay really goes towards regulatory compliance, compliance with federal regulations, state regulations, local regulations. We've been successful over these past years on being able to obtain grants from outside sources. DEMA, Department of Emergency and Military Affairs, FEMA, even Pima County Regional Flood Control District have all been very, very generous in giving us money to be able to build these projects. And on bigger projects where true grant funding from the federal agencies required, such as a large channel build that could be upwards of several $1,000,000. There's always local matches. Those local matches are generally 10%. So a $4 million project could require $400,000 of local funds to be able to start that project. So what I want to bring your attention over to is to the right side of the screen here, that little map of Oro Valley. All those little dots, that's a little bit of a high level look or analysis of where we have stormwater infrastructure spread throughout. Now you notice most of them are yellow and purple, the yellow being public infrastructure, the purple being private HOA infrastructure. The town owns and operates, as far as public infrastructure, over 1,100 separate structures. And, we have an aging town, we have aging structures, so they do require maintenance. These are not set them and forget them. We have upcoming projects that we need to be able to build. Mudder's Wash. I don't know if many of you remember back in 2014, there were homes where we had a good sized flood come through that actually were flooded out. This portion of this is going to go towards creating a flood wall there. Catalina Ridge, there's a main drainage channel there along the side of that HOA where there's no access. We need to build an access ramp down into that, again, for maintenance. Carmack Wash, controlling that in and around Shadow Mountain Estates, keep that from flooding things out and eroding out unimproved channels. Even along the golf course, we have public channels in Kenyatta Hills that are eroding at the toe of some reinforced slopes. And then, as I mentioned before, some of your larger projects, I don't know how many of you are familiar with the Highlands Mobile Home Park, but there is a channel that goes right through the middle of it that is undersized, but putting the right size channel through there is going to cost several $1,000,000, upwards of $4 million. That local match alone is going to be $400,000. And where's that money going to come from? So these are the things that we are facing. Now, next slide, please. Just to put some context to this, what are drainage structures? What do they look like? Here's one which we've recently taken care of. So this is the culverts under Naranja Drive, just west of Town Hall, which allow Sierra Wash to flow underneath. You look at the slide to the left was the before condition, and you can see at the very bottom of it, there's a concrete reinforced wall, soil cement wall, and then underneath it is pure soil where the water was actually flowing backwards and cavitating. And ultimately, if this was not taken care of, this would have taken out Naranja Drive. So to the right is the reclamation. That's an improvement project that has now made Naranja Drive safe at that very specific location. And again, this is aging infrastructure that in which we need to go ahead and put more robust, improvements in just to make them last that much longer. Next slide, please. So, so I kind of talked about the what, what are we doing here? What's the impact to you? For those of you who are residents of the town, how does this increase impact you? How do we create this increase? How do we calculate this? So as Mr. Gephardt mentioned, what this is, and technically, it's a $2 per month from $450 to $650 per month per ERU. What's an ERU? It's an equivalent residential unit. So in mathematical terms, it's 4,000 square feet of impervious surface. And I'll go into where that is actually used and calculated. But for those of you who are homeowners, one ERU equals one single family residence. And that's regardless of the actual size of your residence, whether you're in you're a small build inside a tight-knit subdivision, or you're a larger residence. We treat all of them the same. So you'll be looking at a flat $2 per month increase that you see in your water bill. Now I know there's been some discussion out and about amongst the community that this is a 44% increase in the fee. But I do want to point out that we have not adjusted this fee in over 9 years, and we're still talking about $2 per month per residence. Next slide. Now, not everybody lives in a single family residence. So you can see on this aerial over here, on the left side of that picture, you can see some single family residences, but there are people that live in apartment complexes. So how's this going to affect folks in apartment complexes? Well, there's not one cookie cutter impact, and how that's distributed. That's all based upon how the management of that apartment complex will distribute the additional cost. But we took an average apartment complex. This is the overlook at Push Ridge Apartments. This is at the northwest corner of Hardy and Oracle. There's 425 units in there. There's over 482,000 square feet of impervious surface. I won't go through how the sausage is made as far as going through the calculations, but the existing fee should be, and the town can't dictate this, but if they distribute this per apartment, presently right now, each apartment would be paying $1.28 per month. With the proposed fee, going through those same calculations, that fee would increase to $1.85. So again, if they distribute this fee evenly per apartment, you're looking at about a 57-cent per month increase in the fee, which again, we feel is very reasonable. We don't want to impact our constituents, but we do need to pay for these improvements. Again, we have an aging community, and just making things safer for everybody. Next slide, please. Now, beyond residences, we also have businesses. So how is this going to impact our business community? So again, it's not one size fits all, and we don't dictate exactly how that's going to be distributed. That's for the landowner with their tenants to be able to work this out. We assumed that perhaps looking at an average plaza, this right here is the Escondido Plaza. It's where Trader Joe's, Marshall's, AutoZone is at the southeast corner of McGee and Oracle. If you spread this increase out, you went through the calculations, you spread this increase out, for the smaller shops, the UPS store, the Sweet Repeats, those smaller shops, you're only looking at a $2 to $4 increase per month for them. So really what I wanted to say was, again, if they did this, per shop size, 81% of them could calculate out at $8 or less per month increase. And that would gear it to be it's a least impact to small businesses. It's a fair but larger impact to your bigger businesses. So that again, we are sensitive to this. We can't control this, but it seems to me to make sense that, you know, if I were the one who owned this plaza, that's how I would distribute the fee increase, you know, so that it is distributed fairly. Next slide. Now, I know I've run through a lot of information here, but I really want to leave you with the punchlines as to why. You know, our infrastructure sources are becoming harder to obtain. Money's tighter. I know this is in the news. It's no mystery to everybody, nationally, regionally, and even locally, even from Pima County Flood Control District. It is harder to get that money. They have their needs. It's the community at a whole is aging. The fee increase is needed, and it will be specifically applied to maintenance and construction and drainage facilities. Drainage facilities are living entities. They're not set them and forget them. If you set them and forget them, you will indeed have problems later on. And every improvement to every drainage facility makes a community safer for that incremental amount. It's a modest fee increase. The base calculation is $2 per month per ERU. The impacts of the residential community is very, very minimal. The larger users or the larger creators of impervious surfaces will pay the larger rates. So least impactful on residents and small business, fair but larger impact on bigger businesses. And that's really the message that I want to leave with you with regard to the what, why, and how for this. And with this, I'd like to kick this back to Mr. Spaeth.
All right. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Now is the most important part of the meeting where we turn the time over to you. To make a comment or question, you'll need to raise your electronically generated hand by clicking on the raise hand button on your screen. Depending on the device that you're on, you may have to select the three dots and select more to be able to raise that your hand, or you may have to click on, let's see, the reactions tab, excuse me, to be able to raise your hand. Please make sure to unmute yourself on your end when it is your turn to speak. If you're participating by phone, you'll need to press *9 to raise your hand. If anybody has any questions, please contact Ms. Malini Sims at 229-4836, and she can try and walk you through any issues that you might be having. In an effort to get to as many questions or comments as possible, I respectfully ask you to keep your questions short and to the point. If someone else asks the same question you had, you can certainly just say that you had the same question or that you second that comment. If you have more than one question, that's great. We'll circle back to you as time permits. So my aim is to ensure everyone has a chance to ask a question or make a comment if they are interested. You'll see when I share the whiteboard in just a minute that we will be tracking all questions, comments, and concerns that we will be hearing this evening, as they will be forwarded on to the respective board and commission, in this case, the Stormwater Utility Commission, as well as Town Council, as part of a summary of the overall community engagement event process. Let me go ahead and share that so we can see folks following along. One sec. Apologies. Okay, I'll stop sharing my screen and open the whiteboard. So if you're not familiar with the whiteboard function, you can scroll around using the tabs on the bottom right, or you can use the scroll in, scroll out as you see fit to try and get a better view of anything. So with that, it looks like we do have a question from Roberta. So please go right ahead and make sure that you're unmuted on your end.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. As a young reporter right out of college, I covered extensively the Tucson area flood of 1983, which those of you who are not familiar with this 100-year flood, a lot of deaths, a lot of destruction, just look it up. It was quite a thing. And here I am, over the past months, driving, let me see, east on Naranja, east of La Cañada. And I'm going and going, and like, okay, so there's the wash and there's the bridge on. And I look over to the right going south. I'm like, oh my God, they're building a bunch of houses in the wash. I'm like, I mean, if you saw what I saw, you would look at every wash and think, why are they building anywhere near them? But my question is, and the reason that I bring this up, that I preface my comment with this is, I don't have a problem with the job that stormwater management is doing. I don't have a problem with raising fees for increased expenses. However, what I want to know is, in terms of either development or impact fees, and I am by far not an expert on that, but when I'm looking at these houses, and I'm sure you folks know exactly what development that is, I mean, do those kind of developments pay more money for the things that they need to do to protect that area from flooding and the things that they are doing by building a housing community so close to a wash? And again, excuse my naivete, I'm not an expert on these things. I just wanted to know about that because I'm trying to zoom out and look at part of the bigger picture of the future of Oro Valley and stormwater management and how we deal with building as well as the impact fees in terms of what it costs us as a town.
Mhm. I'll go ahead and field that. Uh, Roberta, I don't know your last name, so pardon me if I just use you first.
Just call me Roberta.
Okay. No, good question. And well, let me start off with that the town does not have an impact fee per se for stormwater.
Okay.
Stormwater is an enterprise fund, so it means it's self-supporting. It raises its own money to conduct its own functions. Each one of those homes would also pay, if this rate were to go in, they would all pay that $650 per month per home. Now, the developer, and you'll notice that they're putting a lot of fill in there. They actually had to raise that up and out of the floodplain. So there are a bunch of additional costs in there to go ahead and again to raise it up. Now, the town did not have the ability to say yay or nay whether that subdivision could go in there. They had pre-existing rights that were established in the county before the town even annexed that area. And that's something that we had to honor. But what we did have to do is make sure that the homes were put in safely. Another thing that we were able to do that hopefully you'll find advantageous is that whenever we can, we do take extractions. So for them, what we asked them to do was to create more. They're creating a large detention basin to the south of them to create more detention to help protect the downstream, which actually happens to be what I mentioned earlier today, the mobile home park for Highlands, the Highlands Mobile Home Park. So they're actually helping the situation for the Highlands, not solving it. If a 100-year flood were to come through there, that detention basin would provide little protection for the Highlands. They're going to get hit with the full brunt of it. But what the advantage is that during the more moderate storms, during your standard heavy monsoon, a 2-year storm, something like that, they're actually creating a much safer situation for the Highlands Mobile Home Park because they're attenuating that much more flow, metering it out. So that's an advantage to that development. We all like to not have developments go into areas that have been reclaimed out of the floodplain, but honestly, that's where Oro Valley started. You look at the Oro Valley Country Club area, a good portion of that area was actually built in the middle of the CDO. They're protected by a flood levee. I was here in '83. I graduated high school in '83, and I remember those floods. And that was a matter of continual rain and supersaturated soil.
Yep. Okay. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you
Appreciate
very
that.
much for the explanation. I appreciate it.
Sure.
Any other questions, comments, or concerns? I do see, yes, Mr. Matt Wood, 3 meetings in a row. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you coming. What
Sure.
question, comment, or concern might you have?
So the same comment as before, I think we should have small incremental increases every year instead of, these, I mean, this isn't a big jump, but, if you went, $1 a year instead of $2, it might make everybody happier. But I mean, these things are more expensive. We need to fund the town, and this is just one of the ways we do it. And just like I said, small incremental increases in each of these will be easier for everyone to accept. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Matt. Appreciate that. You've got any other questions, comments, concerns while we're here this evening? I don't think so. Devin. Yes, Devin. Thank you for raising your hand. And yes, you probably heard me quote, I'm sure, wanted to make sure I said it right tonight. So please go right
And
ahead.
you did a great job, Michael. Thank you so much.
3 meetings in a row for you too. Thank you.
I know. Do Matt and I get prizes?
Sure. We've got Oro Valley stickers anybody can come and get anytime they like.
Perfect, perfect. Kind of following up, and I thought this is where Roberta was going with her question. I thought she asked if the developers in areas like the one that's being built, that Naranja Trails and then down on Lambert, do the developers have any responsibility for helping with stormwater mitigation?
Devin, I'll take that one on as well. And pardon me for, again, using your first name, not your last.
That's fine.
But their responsibility is to build something that protects what the folks that are going in that will be using it, be it commercial or residential. So they have to protect that. They also have to protect those around them. So there isn't a fee per se that the town gets from them, like a road impact fee. What they do is in their design, and whenever we can make an extraction, for them to put a better situation out there to build some extra infrastructure, like for that one that's going in off of Naranja, we asked for a larger detention basin. And that was kind of a symbiotic relationship because they needed the dirt to build the subdivision up out of the ground. So that worked out for everybody. But there isn't a fee that we charge them. It's really on making sure that whatever they build does not impact somebody else, and that the folks that will use it when it's built are safe and sound.
Okay, great. Thank you, Paul. And we actually did have a question in the chat. The question, Paul, for you was, what is the current stormwater utility budget?
That's a good question, and I am going to go ahead and my deputy director and my stormwater utility manager are both part of this call. I'm going to kick this over to my deputy director, Amy Ramsey, because Miss Ramsey actually is my budget master.
Good evening, everybody, and thank you for joining us. Right now, currently our budget for an annual year in stormwater is about 1.5 million.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right. Do we have any other questions, comments, concerns? I'm not seeing any more hands raised, so. Oh, Roberta's back. All right. Yes, Roberta, please go right ahead.
Thank you very much. This is going to be quick. As part of coming up with this money and trying to keep up with all the things that are going on, would the town consider at some point, if not an impact fee, maybe, would you consider an impact fee? Would you consider a fee for developers in the future to have to pay more if the area is in or near a floodplain, or in a fragile area, or an area that might be prone to flooding, or whatever? Is this something that you have been looking at or had been looking at or will ever look at?
Well, I can answer that. We have not been looking at that. That's a good suggestion. We can look into it. I don't know the legalities of an impact fee because impact fees are very, very specific, and how they're used and how they're administered. But it's certainly something for us that we can consider. And I don't know the mechanics of that or how that would be assessed, but nothing's off the table these days. We have to be as creative as possible. And that's something that there is a possibility in the future we could work with the council as well.
Great question. Yeah, thank you very much, Roberta. All right, I'm not seeing any other hands. So out of respect for everyone's time, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap us up here. Oop, I've not stopped sharing that, sorry. See if I can share my screen one last time here. Nope. Goodness. Sorry, folks, just wrapping up. Do. All right. Well, with that said, again, we really appreciate everybody's participation this evening and taking time out of your busy schedules to join us. As I laid out at the beginning, moving forward, now that we're finishing up at least the initial part of our community outreach and community engagement events, staff will be circling back with the respective boards and commissions with any potential revisions that have come out of the conversations we've had with residents over the last 3 meetings. I would like to point out that all of those meetings are public meetings as well, so you're certainly encouraged to attend those if you are interested. And then ultimately, after going to boards and commissions and getting formal recommendations, it'll move on to town council for an ultimate decision later this fall. As always, should you have any additional questions, comments, or concerns throughout the process, please send them to ask@orovalleyaz.gov. And of course, we have more information regarding this process on the town's website. So I want to sincerely thank everybody for their time joining us this evening. I would point out that this meeting or this video, the meeting is being recorded on video, excuse me, and so we'll be posting this on the town's website. So if there are folks who weren't able to attend this meeting, maybe they were out of town or busy with some summer fun things, then certainly point them to our town's website if they're interested to go back and get more information about all of the 3 proposals we've held engagement events on. So thank you very much. I hope everybody has a wonderful evening.